Hello everyone, welcome to this section. In this section, we are going to talk about strings. As previously mentioned, a string is a sequence of characters enclosed in either single quotes or double quotes. And by single quotes, I mean this sign, okay? And double quotes, I mean this sign, okay? And strings are one of the most commonly used data types in Python. And for the strings, both single and double quotes can be used to define strings. So it's optional. We can just choose whatever that we want. And to include quotes inside a string, we can alternate the type of quotes or use escape sequence. Let me illustrate it with an example. Here I'm initializing a variable called name, and using a single quote, I'm assigning Alice to this name, and I'm printing out name using the print keyword in Python. Okay, and here I'm having the greeting variable, and I'm printing greeting using the print keyword. However, I'm using double quotes here. As you see, I'm using double quotes here, and in the output, as we will see in a few minutes, there is no difference between single quotes or double quotes. So it's totally optional. You can either use this or this, okay? But what if you want to include quotes inside a string? To do that, for example, I'm having a variable being initialized here called quote, and I'm printing out the quote here using this line. However, I'm having a single quote for the string itself. As you see, I start from in here, and this single quote ends here. And I'm having she said, comma, and I'm having quotes inside of a string saying that Python is amazing. Okay, so if I run the code, I will explain further uh, other examples, but let me first run the code to show you the difference. So let me also comment these parts. So if I run, we see that in the output we have Alice, hello world. So Alice was declared and initialized using single quotes, and hello world was initialized using double quotes. So you see no difference in the output. They're both the same. So it's up to you. And when I mean to include quotes inside a string, I mean this. So we are printing out she said, comma, Python is amazing. So it's like a direct speech. So if we are going to have quotes sign here in a string, so this is our string and we are having the quotes here, okay? We can alternate the type of the quote. So because here I was using the single quote to initialize my string, then in order to include quotes in the string, like Python is amazing, to include that, I'm using double quotes. Okay, so you can alternate the type of the quotes. If you're initializing your string using a single quote, you can use double quotes when discussing a quotes in the string. Or if you're declaring and initializing your string using double quotes and you want to include quotes inside your string, you can use single quotes. Okay, so it's vice versa. After that, another way to do that, because we mentioned that either we can alternate the type of the code or use escape sequence. To do that, we can have, for example, she said, and have backslash before the start of the code and after the start of the code, and we have backslash code sign and backslash code sign again here. So backslash code sign and backslash code sign, and inside that we provide our codes. Okay, so when I run this code, we see exactly the same output for this line, for this code, and escape codes in the output. Okay, you see there is no difference. So it's up to you again. So you can alternate the type of codes or use escape sequence. So in this lesson, first of all, we reviewed the concept of strings. Then we mentioned that we can declare and initialize strings using single quotes or double quotes. It's up to us. And if we want to include quotes inside a string, as I'm showing here, okay, inside a string, you can either, there are two ways. You can either alternate the type of quotes or use escape sequence. In order to alternate the type of quotes, if you're using already single quotes to declare your string, for the quotes you need to use double quotes. If you're initializing your string using double quotes, for the quotes inside your string, you need to have single quotes, okay? Or you can use escape sequence. To do that, you're going to use backslash quote and backslash quote before the start of the quote and at the end of the quote. So you see the output, they're both the same, so it depends what you prefer. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about the length of a string. In order to measure the length of a string, we need to use the len function, len and parentheses, to find the number of characters in one string. To do that, I can have one string called message, and I'm assigning hello to this message. Okay, but how many characters this string includes? Let us count 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But if we have a string that is very lengthy, how to measure that? It's hard to count it by ourselves. You see, in order to have that, we can use the len function. The len function works like this. We have the len and parentheses. In the parentheses, we type down the name of the string that we want the len function to measure its characters. Basically, I'm using the len keyword. I'm putting the name of my string inside the parentheses. This is going to calculate the number of characters in the message string, which is 5. We know it because we calculated it. And now I'm going to print the output. In order to print the output, I just put this part in a print function. And in a print function, inside the parentheses, I'm having len, and then the name of my string, which is message. So when I run, I see 5. If I have another string, so I have my name, and the string is, for example, Reza Shahin. So now I'm going to print len my name. Okay, so when I run this code, we see that there are 11 characters in this string. So if I calculate, we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so it can calculate the number of characters. And yes, it calculates the space as well. Whatever that is between the quotes, it is going to calculate it, even the space here. Okay, so we are going to have 11 characters. But if we have a string that is lengthy, it's hard for us to calculate it by ourselves. So we'll let the len function do the job for us. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video, we are going to talk about string indexing. So strings are indexed, starting from 0 for the first character. Negative indexing allows you to access characters from the end of the string. For example, -1 is the last character in a string. Let me illustrate it with an example. I'm having a string called word, and I'm assigning Python to this string. In the output, I'm printing out 2 characters indexes. Okay, so in the first one, I'm typing down the name of my string and then assigning 0 in the braces. And then I'm having word again here and number -1. So when I run, first I see P and then I see N. This P comes from the fact that this is the first index of my string, and the first index in my string is this P here. Okay, because we mentioned that it starts from 0 for the first character. So the first character is P here, and therefore when I type down 0, for the string word, it is going to print out in the output the P character. However, when I want to access the last index, instead of just going from the left side, I can start from the right side to go back. It's easier sometimes. To do that, I'm using -1 to access this last character in my word string. So let me illustrate another example. For example, my name. And I assign Reza to my name. So if I print my name, I print the first one, the first character with index 0. So let me comment these parts. So when I run, I see R here. Okay. So what if I print out the second character here using the 1 index? It is going to print E for me. The third one is Z, and the fourth one is A. So the fourth one is A, but we are typing down 3. Why? Because we started from 0. 0, 1, 2, 3. So the fourth one is 3. Okay. And instead of having 3 to print the last character of this string Reza, I could type down -1 to access this A, or -2, for example, to access Z here. It depends on what we're looking for. But this was a good example to understand string indexing. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to talk about string repetition. So repeating a string multiple times using star operator or multiplication sign. Okay, so I'm having the first string or variable called hi, and please note that there is one space after hi here. Okay, and I'm having the new variable being assigned the name of my first variable word times 3. Okay, then I'm printing out my repeated word. I'm going to explain one more time. I'm initializing the word variable, and it's hi, it's a string. I'm initializing my second variable to be word times 3, and word was my first variable, which was a string. Okay, and in the third line, I am printing out my second variable, which is repeated words. So when I run, I see hi with one space, hi space, and hi. Okay, so if I don't have this space, we see that they are very close to each other, as you see in this example here. So I consider this hi, so it is going to put space before printing out the next one. So this is how basically we can have string repetition in Python. It's very easy. So if you want to have 4 repetition, you basically put 4 here, 5 here. So if I put 5 and I compile, we see 5 highs being printed in the output. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to talk about string slicing in Python. So we can extract a portion of a string using slicing. And the formula is this: string, the name of the string, start, and the end. But what is very important is that start is inclusive, but end is exclusive. Let me illustrate it with an example. So I'm having a string called text, and I'm having hello world here. In order to extract a portion of this string, I use this formula here. So I'm printing out the string, which is the name of the string, our text here, and then I'm having braces from 0, colon, and 5. Okay, so there are 2 parts here: before colon, after colon. Before colon is the start point, after colon is the end point. And please note that the start point is inclusive, but the end is exclusive. So we are going to start here from 0, and then we are going to finish at 4, including 4. Why? Because we are having number 5 here, and the end is exclusive. This is just a basic rule in Python. We just need to be aware of it when working with string slicing. So if we want to go up to 4 and include 4, we need to go up to 5 because end is exclusive. So this code is going to give us from index 0 to 4, and index 0 it's here. Okay, so index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, and index 4. Okay, so we go from 0 up to 5, but not including 5. Okay, then when I run the code, we see the output is hello. The first output is hello. This is for this one. Okay, from index 0 to index 4. It is included here. Then in the second part, I'm having two parts again. Before colon and after colon. So before colon, we learned that it's the starting point that is inclusive. But after the colon is the ending point and it is exclusive. So when I type down nothing in the right part, which is the end of the string, it means that start from 7 here and go until the end of the string. Okay, so what is the string 7? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 7 is the starting point. W is the starting point. Okay, so I'm having W and I'm going to continue until the end of the string. Why? Because on the right part here, I don't have anything. If I had like 9, it was going to print out 7 and 8 because the starting point is 7. And when we are having number 9 there, 9 is exclusive, so it is going to go up to 9 and not including 9. So it was going to include 7 and 8 only. So when we type down nothing on the right side, it means that we are going to go until the end of the string. Okay? And again, here we are having the left side starting, the right side ending. I have nothing on the left side, meaning that start from the index 0 and go until up to string 4, including string 4. Okay, so because the end is not inclusive, it is exclusive. So when I see the print in the output for the second one, starting from index 7 until the end, it is printing a word. And when we are having the starting from 0 and ending at 4 inclusive, it is having the hello again for us. Okay, so this is the first part. The second part is that I am reinitializing the text variable called Python, and we are assigning the string Python to it. We can have the print of this string in the output for every second character. To do that, I'm having the name of the string, and then in the braces, we are going to have colon colon 2. It means that every second character. If you have colon colon 3, every third character it is going to print. So in the output, we see P, T, and O. So this is the P, and then it skip the Y. It is printing T, and then it skip H, and it is printing O. So every second character. This is how we're going to use it in a string. Colon colon 2. So if I type down colon colon 3, every third character. So let me rerun. So we see P and H. So it prints P 1, 2. These two are not included, then H is included. Okay, and 1, 2, and there is no third character after N, so we cannot have anything. So we are having only P and H. So if I have 2 again, I'm having P, and it is not including Y, then it is including T. It is not including H, it is including O. So this is how it's going to work. And then in order to have the reverse of our string, we are going to have colon colon -1. When we are having this code, we are going to see in the output the reverse of our string. So you see that we started with P for Python and ended with N. But here we are having N as the first character, O as the second character, H, T, Y, and P. So we are reversing the string using this code. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture. In today's video, we are going to learn how to combine two strings in Python. So in order to combine two or more strings, we use addition operator. For example, I'm having the variable first name and last name, and they are assigned John and Doe as the first name and last name respectively. And in order to have the full name variable, I'm having first name plus one space and plus last name. And then I'm printing out the full name in the output. So when I run, I see John Doe. So I'm adding this to have this space here. Okay, so if I don't consider this part, if I remove it, you see that they are smashed together. So you see John Doe. So it is better to have one space here, so it would be more nice. So in this video, we learned how to combine two strings and create our third string using addition operator or plus operator. In order to do that, we simply have the first name, which is our first variable. You see, this is our first variable. This is our second variable, and we are sorry, and we are using addition operator to add these two together and create our third string here, and I'm basically printing out the third string, which is full name. So this is how we can combine two strings. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to learn how to check if a substring exists in a string using the in keyword. To do that, I'm illustrating this with an example. So I'm having a variable called text, and it's a string, and the string is learning Python is fun. This is my string. And I want to check for substring. To do that, I'm having the print keyword, and in parentheses, I'm saying in the quotes, I'm saying Python, and then in text. And text is the name of my variable. So I'm basically what I'm asking the compiler is to see if the string Python is inside and is included in string text. And you see the Python is there. So we expect to see the output to be true because Python exists in the string text. To say to compiler, we use the codes saying that Python or anything that we want to look for, and use the in keyword, and then use the name of the string that we're going to check whether a substring is there or not. So I'm saying Python a substring of text string? Learning Python is fun. So is Python included, let's say, in this string? The answer is yes. So we expect to see true here. And then I'm checking to see if I check and see Java is included in the string text or not. So we see this string is learning Python is fun and Java is not there. But I'm checking to see if Java is included in this string or not. And since Java is not there, we expect to see false in the output. And also we can check for the absence of a substring. For example, we can say Java not in text, and the output is true because we are saying Java is not in the string text. Yes? And it is going to answer yes, it's true. Java is not in the string text. So when I run the code, we see true, false, and true as we expected. True, false, and true. Basically, it is saying Python is included in the text string because we see the Python. Then Java is not included in the text string because Java is not there. You see no Java there, yeah? And then we are saying, okay, I think Java is not in the string text. Am I right? It says yes, you're right. So it is printing out true in the output. So this is how we can very easily check to see if a substring exists in a string using the in or not in keyword. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to write a program that takes a user's first and last name as input, combine them into a full name, converts the full name to uppercase, and prints the length of the full name, excluding spaces. To do that, I'm having the first name and last name variables, and we are using the input function, if you remember, to take the input from the user for the first name, and it is shown as enter your first name, and the user is going to type down the first name and then enter your last name, and the user is going to type the last name. So the first name and the last name are going to be stored in first name variable and last name variable respectively. Then I'm having the full name, my third variable, which is the first name plus one space and plus last name. Then I'm having uppercase name variable, and it is basically is the full name variable dot upper function. So it is going to make this full name to be uppercase. So let me type down the input. For example, for the first name, I'm going to enter my first name, and for the last name, I'm going to enter Shaheen, which is my last name. Here, the full name is going to be Reza Shaheen with the space in between, as you see here. Okay. And this part, uppercase variable, is going to use this full name, which is this Reza Shaheen, and make all of the convert the full name to uppercase. So previously it was written like this. Okay. It is going to make it to be like this. Okay. It is using the upper function to convert all the characters in uppercases of the full name. Okay. Then I'm having the length variable, and it is going to basically calculate the length of this character of this string, the length of this string for me when considering there is no space in between. Okay. So first of all, I'm using the length function to know the length of my string, and in the parentheses I'm having the name of my variable, which is the full name here. Okay. Dot replace. So using replace, we can change some of the characters, and we are basically mentioning whatever you see as to be a space, empty place, empty space, just remove it. Okay. So in the first part, we see if you find any space. In the second part, we see, for example, we can type down H. So if you see any space, type down H instead. But because I want to calculate the length of this string without the space between them, I'm going to say, if you see the space, consider no space. So basically it is going to have it be like this. Okay, so there is when there is no space. So it is going to calculate the length of this string for me when I'm having the replace function. Then I'm having the print in the output full name is the full name variable is being printed out, and we are saying the full name is, and we're having the variable called full name, uppercase name, and I'm having the uppercase name variable here, which is this part, and the full name was this part. And then I'm having the length of full name. When no space is considered, I'm printing out the length variable, which is here, and it is calculated based on the length of the full name variable, in which we are replacing all the spaces with no space. So it is going to calculate the length of this. So when I run, it says enter your first name, I say Reza, enter your last name, I say Shaheen. So it is printing out full name Reza Shaheen, uppercase name Reza Shaheen, length of full name with no space, it is 10. Let us check and verify this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the length is 10. So we see that we calculated everything correctly. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to learn about converting case, upper and lower. Using the dot upper parentheses function, we can convert all characters to uppercases, and using the lower function, we can convert all characters to lowercase. For example, I'm having one string here called text, and it is assigned Python, and I'm using the text dot upper and parentheses, and then text dot lower parentheses. So when I run this code, we see in the first example, in the first output, I'm having the Python being printed with uppercase, all of the characters, and in the second print, we see that all of the characters are printed in lower cases, because in the original example, P was written with uppercase, but in the second output, we see everything is written in lower cases. So let me illustrate with another example. So I would say Reza Shahin, for example, here, and I print the name upper. My name is the name of my variable, my name dot upper and my name dot lower. So when I run the code, we see that in the first print, everything, all of the characters are in uppercase, and in the last print, we see that all the characters are shown in lowercase. So this is basically how we can convert cases in Python. Thank you. Hello everyone, welcome to another lecture. In today's video, we are going to learn about the replace function in Python. So I'm having one string called text, and it is assigned the hello string. Then I'm having a new variable called new text, and I'm going to use the replace function. So I'm saying that new text equals text, exactly the first one, but I would like to replace H with J. So wherever you see H in the text string, replace it with J. And I'm printing text and new text in the output. So when I run, we see the text is being printed out in the output with no changes. So hello is printed because text is hello and text was assigned hello. But when I'm printing out the new text, it is printing out Jello for me. Why? Because I said new text, this is the new variable, equals text dot replace H and J. So I want the new text to be text, but wherever you see H, replace it with J. So it is going to print out Jello for me because there is one H, and this H is going to be replaced by J. So we are having Jello here. Okay. In order to use the replace function, we type down the name of the original variable dot the replace keyword, and within parentheses there are two parts, before the comma and after the comma. Before the comma, we type down whatever we want to change, and after the comma, we are going to type the replacement of whatever we want to change. So in this case, in this example, I wanted to replace H with J. So I type down H before comma on the left side, and I type J on the right side after the comma. This is why the new text is now Jello. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we would like to ask the user to enter a string. And then we would like to check to see if that entered string starts with a specific character or not. For example, we're going to ask the user to enter a string. The user is going to enter, for example, Reza. Okay. And then we would like to check and see if the entered string by the user starts with R, with the letter R or not. Okay, so this is some validation. Maybe the user is going to enter something, and we would like to check if the user is entering something that is starting with R, for example. Okay, this is how we're going to proceed. Here, to do that, here I'm showing this message to the user and saying that enter a string. Okay, and whatever the user is going to enter is stored in the text variable. Then we are having another variable called start, and we would like to enter the starting character to check. Okay, so here I would say, for example, R. because I want to check if the input string by the user is starting with R or not. Okay, and whatever that we enter here is going to be assigned to start variable, and to check to see if a string starts with that specific character, we show this message first using the print function. Does the string start with? And then I type down the name of the variable start with the character that we want to check. And then in order to actually tell the compiler to check this for us, we can type down the name of the string that the user entered, which is text, and then use the start with function. So this is the name of the function, start with function, and in parentheses we type down the name of the variable that is storing the character. Okay, so let me run the code once. It says enter a string. I type down Reza, and then it asks me to enter a starting character. I would like to check if Reza starts with R. When I enter, it says, does the string starts with R? And the answer is true. Yes, it starts with R. Okay. For example, if I type down, for example, a string Reza, and then I type down H, I would like to check if the string Reza starts with an H. When I enter, it says the answer is false because Reza does not start with an H. So this is how we can do it. Basically, we are first storing the string, then storing the character, starting character, and in order to call the start with function, we type down the name of the string dot start with function, and in parentheses we type down the name of the variable that is used to store the character. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome to this course. In today's video, we would like to talk about ASCII. It stands for American Standard Code for Information Interchange. And this is a numerical representation of characters, including letters, digits, symbols that are used in computer. For example, a numerical representation of letter capital A is 65. If it's a small a, it's 97, for example. For number 1, the numerical representation is 49, okay? So today we would like to learn how to get and how to obtain these numerical representations, okay? To do that, I am presenting you an example here. So here is a message being shown to the user saying that enter a character to find its ASCII code. Then whatever the user is going to enter, we're going to assign it to this variable called char. And then in order to understand what the numerical representation of the input of the user is, we're going to use ORD function. So in order to use ORD function, we type down the ORD, and in parentheses, we type down the name of our variable. And in this case, it is char, okay? And then simply I use the print function. I type down this message, the ASCII code of, and then the type of and then the name of the variable, and then is message, and then we use the ORD function, and in parentheses I put down the name of char. So let me run the code once. When I run the code, first of all, we expect to see a message from the program that asks us to enter a character to find its numerical representation. For example, here you see enter a character to find its ASCII code. So now I enter capital A, and when I enter, it says the code of A is 65, as we mentioned here. If I type down, for example, capital B, it says it is 66. If I type down, for example, small a, it is going to give us 97. So this is how we can use the ORD function in order to find the numerical representation of characters. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we would like to write a program to find the smallest and largest character in a string using the min and max functions. So we are going to have an equivalent of numerical representation for each character. So each character has its numerical representation, and we learned that we can find it using the ORD function. Okay, so now we would like to enter one string and understand which character has the largest, let's say, numerical representation, and which character has the smallest numerical representation. Let me first run the code. It says enter a string to find its smallest and largest character. So I type down Reza, for example. It says smallest character is R and largest character is Z. Okay, so when I uncomment these parts, I am showing in the output the numerical representation of R, capital R, and small z. So when I run the code, I again type down Reza, and it says for R, the numerical representation is 82. However, for Z, it's 122. So the smallest character in the string Reza is R, is capital R, and the largest character is Z, based on their numerical representation. Okay, but how do we find that? In order to find it, we are showing this message to the user, enter a string to find its smallest and largest character. Then whatever the user is going to enter, we are assigning it to the variable called text. And in order to find the smallest character, I use the min function, and in parentheses, I type down the name of my variable. In order to find the largest character, I use the max function. I type down the name of my variable, which is text. And then here I'm using the print function to show this message, smallest character and largest character. And then using the min function and max function. Just remember to put this comma in between the message that we would like to be shown in the output, so the smallest character, and when we are calling the variable. When we are having this program, it is going to basically help us to find the smallest and largest character in a string based on ASCII code. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we would like to write a program to check if all characters in a string are lowercase or uppercase. And we are going to use isLower and isUpper functions. So when I run this code, it says enter a string. I type down, for example, Reza, and it says, is the string all lowercase? The answer is true because all of them are indeed in lowercase. And the second part is that, is the string all uppercase? The output is false because indeed it's not all uppercase. It's indeed all lowercase. How do we do it? So I use the input function to show this message to the user, enter a string. And then whatever the user is going to enter, it is going to be assigned to the text variable. Then using the isLower and isUpper function, we are checking this string to see if all characters in the string are lowercase or uppercase. To do that, first I type down the name of my variable, then put a dot, then I type down isLower with empty parentheses to check if all the characters are lowercase, and to check if all the characters are uppercase, we are going to simply type down the name of our variable and then dot and type down the isUpper to check if all the characters in the string are in uppercase or not. So when I run the code one more time, this time I type down Reza with capital letters, so uppercase. It says, is the string all lowercase? False. Why? The reason is very simple. This is all in uppercase. And is the string all uppercase? And it is true. So the answer is true. Basically, in Python, we can use the isLower and isUpper functions to help us to find if all the characters in a string are lowercase or uppercase. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we would like to write a program that checks if the characters in a string are numeric. And we can do it using the isDigit function. Let me run the code. So it says enter a string to check if it's numeric. I type down Reza. And the answer is the string numeric? The answer is false because it's not numeric, okay? So when I run the code one more time and I type down, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I enter, it says, is this string numeric? The answer is true. So how can we check that? First of all, I use the input function to show this message to the user, enter a string to check if it's numeric. Then we assign it to the text variable. After that, we are simply printing the output saying that is the string numeric? This is a message that we want to show. This is this one. Then put a comma to call the text variable using and also call the isDigit function. Sorry. So I type down the name of the variable, which is text dot isDigit function, and with empty parentheses. This isDigit function is going to check if this string text contains all characters are numeric or not. Okay, so even if I type down, for example, Reza 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the answer is false. Why? Because it's not all numeric. It is going to check if all the characters in the string are numeric or not. So if I type down 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, for example, it says true because it has all its characters are in numeric view. So this is how we can use isDigit function to check if all the characters in a string are numeric. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we would like to write a program to check if a string ends with a specific character, and we are going to use ends with function. I'm asking the user to enter a string, and we are storing the string in the text variable, and then I'm asking the user to enter the ending character to check, and we are going to store it in the end variable here, okay? Then we are going to type down the name of the string dot using the ends with function, and in parentheses I'm calling the variable end that stores the ending character. For example, my string text is Reza, for example, and I would like to check if letter A, the character A, is the character that this text variable is going to end with. Okay, we would like to check to see if this string Reza is ending with A or not. This is how we're going to do it, and in order to do that, we're going to use ends with function. We type down the name of the string, which is a text dot ends with, and in parentheses I type down the name of the variable that is carrying the ending character. So when I run this code, it says enter a string and type down Reza, for example, and then it asks me to enter the ending characters to check. I would say A. For example, it says does the string end with A? And the answer is true. So if I type down, for example, Reza, and then I type down, for example, W, the answer is false because the string Reza is not ending with W, so the answer is false. Indeed, it is ending with an A. So this is how we can use the ends with function in Python to check if a string ends with specific character. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we would like to write a program to find the index of a character in a string, and we are going to use the find and index functions. First of all, we're going to ask the user to enter a string, and the enter the string from the user is going to be stored in the text variable. For example, the user is going to enter Reza, so text equals Reza, okay? Then we are going to ask the user to enter the character to find. So I would like to find the index of character Z, okay? So character would be equal to Z. Okay, so I would like to find the index of Z in the string Reza. This is what the program is all about. And we're going to do it using the find and index function. Using the find function, I type down the name of my string called text, and then dot find. This is the find function. Find, and in parentheses, I type down the name of the character that I'm looking for to find its string. Okay. And the result of this is assigned to find index. And here I'm using the print function to simply print the value that is stored in find underscore index. Then in order to do the same thing with index function, we're going to type down the name of the string text dot index function. So index function, and in parentheses, again, we type down the name of the character. Okay. So here is the char, and then the output of this is assigned to the index variable. Then we are printing out the index. So let me run the code. Before that, let me mention something else as well. So the index of R is 0. The index R equals 0. E index is 1. Z index is 2. And A index is 3. Why? We start from 0. So the index of R character in this string is 0. The index of E is 1, and etc. until the end. A equals 3. Why? We start because simply we start from 0, and this is why the first element index is 0, and the last element, in this case the fourth character, index is 3. So here it says enter a string. I type down Reza, and it says enter the character to find. So I type down Z, for example. It says character Z found at index using find function at index 2 and using index function at index 2 as well. So the Z character is at index 2 indeed, and we use the find function and index function to find the index of this character for us. This is how we can simply type down the name of the string dot the find function, and in parentheses we type down the variable that is carrying the character that we are looking for. And the same goes with the index function. We type down the name of the variable and then the index function, and in parentheses we type down the variable that is carrying the index, that the character that we are looking for to find its index. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we would like to write a program that counts the number of occurrences of a character in a string. And we are going to use the count function. Here, I'm asking the user to enter a string, and the enter the string by the user is going to be stored in the variable called text. And then I'm going to ask the user enter the character to count, and whatever the user is going to enter is going to store in character. So for example, this is my string, and I would like to ask so let me put it like this. So this is my string, and I want the Python to count the number of occurrences of this A character, this A letter. So in this string, we are having 1 and 2 A's. Okay, I want Python to count it for me. To do that, I need to use the count function. First, I type down the name of my variable in which I'm storing the string. Then I type the name of the function that is count. And in parentheses, I type down the name of the variable that we're storing the character inside of it. So when I run this code, it should first ask me to enter a string and then ask me to enter the character to count. So enter a string. So this is my string, Reza Shahin. Okay. And then enter the character to count. So I would say A, and we see that the result is 2. So there are 2 A's in my string Reza Shahin. As you see, the answer is correct. 1 A, and this is the second A. Okay. We could also say, for example, Reza Shahin, for example, with a PhD degree. Okay, so now I would like to count the number of A's. We see that there are 3 occurrences of character A. This is the second one, this is the first one, this is the second one, and this is the third one. So if I also Reza Shahin with a PhD degree, I could say, for example, count the number of occurrences of character E, and it says 4 characters of E are being in my string. So this is the first one, this is the second one, this is the third and fourth one. So this is how we can use the count function in Python to count the number of occurrences of a character. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we would like to write a program that converts the first letter of a string to uppercase, and we're going to use the capitalize function in Python. First of all, we're asking the user to enter a string, and whatever the user is going to enter is going to be stored in the text variable. Then, to capitalize the first letter of this string, we use the capitalize function. So I type down the name of my variable, dot, and then the capitalize function. So when I run this code, I mentioned, for example, Reza Shahin, and as you see, everything is in lowercase. And when I enter, it says Reza Shahin. So it returns me my own string, but R is now capitalized because initially it was not with upper cases. So if I type, for example, another name, this is Reza Shahin, and it is going to, you see that the T is now with uppercase while I entered with lowercase. So we can use the capitalize function in order to convert the first letter of a string to uppercase. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we would like to write a program that converts the first letter of each word in a sentence to uppercase, and we are going to use the title function. First of all, I ask the user to enter a sentence, and we are going to store it in the text variable. Then we use the print function to print the outputs, and then we type down the name of my variable dot the title. So when I run this code, it asks me to enter a sentence. So I would say this is Reza Shahin, okay? And it is going to capitalize the first letter of each word. So T is capitalized because it was lowercase, and then I is capitalized here, and this is R, which is capitalized again here, and then S is now in uppercase. As you see, it was in lowercase originally. So in the previous video, we learned how to capitalize the first letter of a string, but here we are learning how to have the uppercase for the first letter of each word. This is how we can use the title function in Python. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we would like to convert all letters in a string to lowercase, and we are going to use the lower function. First of all, we are going to ask the user to enter a string. We are going to store it in the text variable, and then we type down the name of our variable, which is text, and then dot lower with empty parentheses. So when I run this code, it asks me to enter a string. So everything I would like to be in uppercase. This is Reza Shahin from Python coding lessons. Okay, and when I enter, you see this is my string, and this is the returned string. This is Reza Shahin from Python coding lessons. But you see that all letters in my string are now converted to lowercase. So this is how we can use the lower function to have all letters in a string to become lowercase. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to learn how to convert all letters in a string to uppercase, and we are going to use the upper function. Here I'm asking the user to enter a string as before, and we are assigning it to a variable called text. Then in using print function, I'm printing the output. So I type down the name of my variable dot the upper. So the upper is the function that is going to help me to make all letters in my string to be uppercase. So I type down, this is Reza Shaheen from Python coding class. Okay, so this is my string, and as you see, all letters in my string are lowercase. And when I enter, I expect to see the output of my string with all letters in uppercases. So when I run this code, we see here is my string. So this is Reza Shaheen from Python coding class. And then we see that here we are having my string, but all letters are now in uppercase. So we learned how to do it using upper function in Python. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we would like to write a program that replaces a substring with another substring using the replace function. So this is what we are going to do. For example, my string is Reza Shaheen, and I tell the Python that I would like to change Reza in my Reza Shaheen string, and I want to replace it with, for example, John. Okay. And now I would expect the Python to return me John Shaheen. So one more time. This is my original string. Then I tell Python that I would like to replace Reza with John. And then I expect to see the output John Shaheen. So to do that, I'm having my enter a string message to the user, and then whatever the user is going to enter is going to store in text. So this part is my text variable. So this is my text variable equals Reza Shaheen string. Then we are showing another message to the user, enter the substring to replace. And we are going to assign it in old substring variable. So old substring variable equals Reza. So this is Reza that we want to change. Then we are going to show another message to the user saying that enter a new substring. And this is going to be stored in new substring variable. So this is John is my new substring. And finally, we are going to use the replace function to print John Shaheen instead of Reza Shaheen. To do that, I use the print function as always to show the output. Then I type down the name of the original variable string. This is the text. Then I type down the name of the string, the name of the function, which is replace. Sorry. So replace here, I'm having it. Okay. So far I type down the name of my variable, which is text, and then I call the replace function. But in parentheses, there are two arguments to mention, one before the comma and one after the comma. The one that is before the comma, we need to type down the old substring, and after the comma, we need to type down the new substring. So I want the old substring to be replaced with the new substring. So the one that we want to change is the left hand side of the comma, and the one that we want to be replaced to inserted in our string is on the right side. So when I run this code, it asks me to enter a string. So I would say Reza Shaheen. This is my string. So enter the substring to replace. So which part of this string I would like to change? I would like to change the part that says Reza. Then it says, okay, what do you want to put instead of Reza? I would say John, okay? And then it returns me John Shaheen in the output. So I use the name of my variable, which is text, then dot replace function. So I call the replace function with two arguments, okay? The first argument before the comma is the argument that I want to be eliminated, and after comma is the argument that I want to be inserted. So these are two arguments. So the first part is the part that I want to be eliminated, and after that I type down the variable, the string that I want to be inserted. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we would like to write a program to split a sentence into words, and we are going to use the split function in Python. Here I'm asking the user to enter a sentence, then whatever the user is going to enter is going to be stored in the text variable, and then simply we call the name of the variable, which is text dot, and then we call the function, which is a split. So when I run this code, everything should be taken care of. So I would say this is Reza Shaheen from Python class. Okay. And then we see each word in this sentence is now splitted into words. So this is Reza Shaheen from Python class. So each word in my string in the sentence that was stored in the text variable is now divided into words, as you see it here. So this is how we can use the split function in Python. Thank you for watching.